Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Bullets and Bourbon. I'm Matt Gunlock, and tonight I have a special guest, Lauren Kalil. Lauren is known within the CrossFit space as well as in the tactical games. She has a larger than life personality, spreads positive vibes, and is always on the road. So before we get started, Lauren, can you kind of give yourself a quick introduction?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited to sit down and chat, and I'm actually at home. So you caught me when I'm in between travel trips, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always listening to Talking Elite Fitness and seeing what you put on Instagram, and it's like you never stop. And I remember life like that at one point not so long
Yeah.
ago, and it's like, how do you keep up with like that intensity with that travel schedule?
So luckily, I actually am just getting off I would call my not busy season, which means basically like 4 weeks of not traveling or not traveling for work. I actually just got home from a family vacation, which was travel, but travel to a beach and then hang out at the beach for a week. So I had almost the entire month of August off. And now I'll be headed into what I would say is like the second hump of the busiest season of the year. So I kind of have two where it's back to back to back. It's like the late winter to early spring, and then things kind of quiet down right as the summer is starting. And then it gets a little bit busier and then a lull. And now I'm away almost every weekend until Thanksgiving.
Oh, geez. And
So
then, yeah, and then I assume December will be relatively quiet, but then are you going to be in Wadapalooza in January?
I will be at Wadapalooza, but they actually moved it to March next year.
What?
So I know. So I have there's SHOT Show, which I might go to again. But last year I had to go from SHOT Show and then take a red eye from Vegas to Miami to get ready for Wadapalooza. So that was kind of like a kick in the face to start the new year, where
I mean,
January won't be too crazy this year.
that's January was a perfect time for it considering like everywhere up like I guess you can say like from North Carolina or Virginia on up on here on the East Coast, it's cold. It's
We
like
kind of needed it. We needed
yeah.
the beach. I'll put air quotes vacation because it was work, but it's still like, okay, I get to work from a beach versus be at
Hmm.
home where there's 5 feet of snow and it's
Hmm.
sub-zero temperatures.
Yep. So kind of jumping right in. So you're a sports commentator, media personality, podcast host. Where did this all start? And you didn't always just do this. You before that you were a television host. So like what was the stress of like leaving that job and jumping all into this space?
I mean, what person in their right mind at the age of 30 quits their job with benefits and a salary and a 401k? Like, not many people would choose to do that, especially when you don't have a full-time job lined up from there. Like when I left television as a anchor and reporter back in 2021, I was writing part-time for Morning Chalk Up. It's a CrossFit newsletter.
Yep.
And I mean, I made a little bit of money, but it was very much part time that like that wasn't even covering even close to half of my bills. But in my mind, I knew that I couldn't do the television life anymore. Like the way that I saw my life or where I wanted to take my life, it just wasn't in line with the lifestyle I had working in television. And, the stories that I was telling, they
You weren't
just
passionate.
yeah, like I lost passion and I lost the spark. And every single day my alarm would go off, and every single day I would consider taking a sick day. That's how much I ultimately like hated my job before I ultimately left. So I left TV. I didn't sign a contract. So it was essentially like my contract was up. I just didn't renew. And then I go on my way. So I was writing part time for Morning Chalk Up. And at that point, I reached out to my CrossFit affiliate owners and was like, hey, I would love to coach here. I would love to like manage your social media account. And if you need somebody to give tours to people for potential members at the gym, like kind of odd end jobs that they didn't have a full-time position opened, but they were able to find like little things for me to do that between that and then working at Morning Chalk Up, I was at least able to make ends meet for as long as I could. And then I would say like about 6 months into Morning Chalk Up, that's when I kind of transitioned into I'm gonna take a risk and I'm gonna start DMing athletes and see if they'll do Zoom interviews with me. And hopefully they say yes. And I'm gonna take over Morning Chalk Up's YouTube channel because at that point, because this would have been after COVID. Like before COVID in 2019 and earlier, their YouTube channel was doing really well. But then
Mm-hmm.
COVID happened and nobody took over the YouTube channel and like live events were done. So it kind of just sat there, but they had like over 50,000 subscribers. So it was like, okay, the channel is already built. I just really need to start putting high value content that like keeps people coming and almost like revitalize the stagnant subscribers. So that's when I did that. Once I had some data to prove that the channel was growing, we were getting more subscribers, we were getting views. Then I went to my boss at the time at Morning Chalk Up and was like, hey, I would love to turn this into a full-time thing. Here's what I've done with the YouTube channel over the last like couple of months. Like, let's talk. And then that's when my position transitioned from, part-time writer to full-time YouTube host. I would travel to events, do athlete interviews, sports casts, things like that.
No, that's pretty cool. I mean, not many people have that know-how to do that. And yeah, I guess having that TV personality and that approach like definitely drove it. And then you left there and you went over to Talking Elite Fitness. What was that transition like?
Yeah, so that transition was, I would say, like easier in a lot of ways because Tommy Marquez and we both worked at Morning Chalk Up, so I was able to build a relationship with him through there. And then when him and Sean, they had already like been doing Talking Elite Fitness, but it was more of a part-time thing for him at the time. Where then when he went full-time and left Morning Chalk Up, him and I were talking on the side, like, hey, if you guys ever need like a third host, I would love to team up with you and Sean. I feel like the three of us are very much in line with how we do sports coverage, our goals with broadcast, where we want to take conversations and content. So that's how that kind of then evolved. And then they had an open opportunity and I didn't even blink. I was like, okay, I'm there. You let me know when I can start and we'll get it going.
So I gotta ask because I know those two are big geeks, especially with Star Wars and anything comic book.
Uh-huh.
Have they influenced you in following down that path at all?
No, they've tried. They've both sent me their movie lists. And at first I would be like, okay, sure, like I'll write down this list and I'll pretend like I'm gonna watch these movies. But I'm trying to think if there's okay, there are a couple movies that they've influenced me. I have watched, oh man, what is it called? It's this guy who has kind of like a military background and he kind of goes batshit crazy off the grid. And then like people are trying to kill him,
The
but like he's
Punisher?
actually, no, but
Ah.
he actually is like a good guy. Of course, I can't think about it at the moment because I'm terrible with movies, but they've influenced me to watch a couple of things. So,
Okay.
not with Star Wars and their like sci-fi
Mm-hmm.
brains, but some other things they've
Okay.
done.
It's acceptable. Oh,
Yes, yes, but I respect how die hard they both are for it.
no, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate, me included. I mean, shoot, back here I have my
The
Captain
Captain America,
America
I
shield.
noticed it. Yeah, it's great. It's great. They would both appreciate that very much.
Heck yeah. No, like I tune into that show every Thursday when it comes out and
Mm,
love the content. It's always good.
thank
And
you. We appreciate that.
it's the positive vibes and everything, like always keeping everything, up, which nobody wants to be down. Nobody wants to tune into something on their drive to work and just be put down and it's good stuff.
Yeah, I mean and that is a reason why I wanted to team up and collaborate with them because I feel like the three of us very much want to be real and we want to talk about the topics that sometimes need to be spoken
Hmm.
about, but we all really try to take it with a critical eye and
Yep.
not like trash on something just for the sake of, being a TMZ like headline or being clickbait. It's like, okay, this is the problem. What are possible solutions? Or can we
Yep.
have a guest on the show that could speak to this and give a possible solution? Like, we always want to try to move that needle forward to have productive conversations.
Absolutely. And like my time in the military, like I would tell my guys, hey, if you have a problem with something, and like anytime I've been to any kind of military courses, like anytime we had a problems with something, it's like, hey, I don't like how this went, and here is a solution. You have to
Yeah.
problem frame it. It's like, hey, like here's the problem, here's the recommendation, and here's the intent behind all of it. And as long as you can provide that, it's constructive criticism in a positive manner. It's like you can't just dog on something to dog on it. You got to be able to provide some positive feedback in order to make it better.
Yeah. And that's why we want to have productive conversations. We don't want to just talk in circles. And I get it. Like sometimes that does happen, but I think
Mhm.
it is important to keep pushing the ball forward because at the end of the day, like the three of us really care about health, fitness, CrossFit, and sport in general. Like we truly love it to the core so much. So then when things like do go wrong or like things start to get really negative in the ecosystem, it's like, okay, can we find the positive spin on this? Or can we find like a guest that might change the pace of all of the other noise that's out there right now?
Or think of a different angle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of already mentioned that you are passionate within the CrossFit space, health and fitness. And were you, already involved with CrossFit when you started covering CrossFit events, or did you get into CrossFit after covering the events?
I got into CrossFit first when I was still in television. And that's kind of it's funny when you look back at moments and you see how they foreshadowed things, but at the moment you didn't really know what was happening. Like I'll
Hmm.
never forget sitting at my desk in the newsroom and in the mornings, I'd be working after like the newscast is over, preparing for the next day. But then I would also have like my little sticky notes and be looking at the whiteboard and seeing what the workout is for the day and writing down my percentages. And then, like, in the background, if a CrossFit event was going on, I would have that, like, I'd have one little earbud in and I'd be listening to it. And I would hear Sean and Tommy and like Chase and Bill and like the whole team. And in my head I would think, wow, that's my dream job is broadcasting at these CrossFit events, like calling play by play, commentating. But there's no there's no path. There's no way to apply for this position. Like I don't think that that's possible. And well, a lot of that was right because yeah, you don't apply for these jobs. It's really just like,
Show up.
okay, yeah, like get your name out there, prove you know what you're doing, be at the right place at the right time, network, like a lot of that. Truly, like after I left television, any event that I've been hired by or any opportunity that I've had come my way has just been sending cold emails or just meeting people in person. It's never been an official like application process the way that I would say like most jobs or career paths are.
No, I mean, that's interesting. And I think that's, minus like corporate America and stuff like that. Yeah, I think a lot of jobs, a lot of jobs are like, yes, apply through the traditional means, but a lot of jobs are found and people are hired through the network that they meet throughout life. And,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. So, you know, kind of going with that, when you finally did go to your first CrossFit event and commentate with like guys like Sean and Tommy, what was it like? Like, what were the nerves like? Because it's something you're inherently passionate about, it's something you love, and you do have that TV host personality. But like, were you nervous that first time?
Oh, I like think of the worst sweat mustache that anytime you wipe it, it just will not go away. Like my hands were clammy the whole time. And it's one of those things where anchoring the news or being in the field and live reporting, I am so grateful that I already had all of those skills or having a producer in my ear
Hmm.
and being used to that. Like I will say, because of my experience in local television, I was definitely way further ahead than I would have been if I didn't have all of that experience. So I am very grateful for like the journey that I had. but it still doesn't take away from the first time you're doing something new. And I mean, you have all of these nerves because you want to prove yourself. You want to prove that you weren't just like hired because you knew the right people or because, oh, they need to get a woman in the booth. Like, you want to prove that you've been hired because you have the skills and you're the best for the job.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of personal pressure that I put on myself. But then after you get a few reps in and you start going, and then I mean, having Tommy there with me was so helpful because it was already somebody that I trusted and somebody that I was incredibly comfortable around. And also, I knew that if I messed up or if I had a question, I wasn't embarrassed around him, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
it was being in a safe space where, okay, like he's going to give me good feedback that or constructive feedback that is going to be honest, and he is looking in my best interest. So I think like a lot of for a lot of those reasons it was a really good first experience because I had a lot of the tools. It was now just, okay, how am I going to use these tools in a live setting? Because when you're doing live TV, I don't care if you're ESPN, I don't care if you're Fox Sports, nothing goes according to plan 100%.
Hmm.
Technical errors and difficulties and things break and go out, and you just have to be
You have to,
comfortable to,
yeah, you have to be able to like work on the fly, think on the fly, and just roll with it.
yep. And if you mess up, it's live. You just got
Hmm.
to keep going. We're not going to stop and rewind.
Yep.
So I was grateful that I at least like knew and had some of those skills going into it.
So what was your favorite memory whenever, throughout your, to date from being at like CrossFit games or any of the fitness events that you've had to commentate? What would you
Hmm.
say was the most special?
I would say calling the West Coast Classic semifinal was the most special for me because that was, I would say that was probably the biggest event that I've done. I have called the Masters CrossFit Games not this year but last year. So you could argue that that one's bigger, but with West Coast Classic, I mean those are some of the elite athletes that I'm talking about their stats and I'm calling their names on the floor and talking about the action, and that one was just at such an iconic venue at the tennis stadium where the CrossFit Games used to be. So like that was my first time there because before that, like I didn't join the CrossFit scene until 2017, and that was the first year it had moved to Madison, Wisconsin. So I had never been to California to the tennis stadium. So I was really excited to be at like this historical venue, like in one of the first places where the CrossFit Games was hosted. And I mean, you're watching athletes punch their tickets to the CrossFit Games, and being able to call that action is probably like the biggest highlight in my professional career so far.
I mean, yeah, and it's like it's emotional for you because you're invested, and it's emotional for them because like, hey, I just did something that not many people can say that they've actually done.
Mhm.
No, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So, I think I know the answer, but this is you. How has CrossFit and functional fitness changed your life for the better?
Oh, in so many ways. I I used to have some very, very unhealthy habits in the sense that, I mean, I will call it what it is. I used to be a party girl. I used to
Mhm.
love going out, clubbing, drinking with friends, like eating pizza, like getting Taco Bell. Like I very much like lived the party scene truly from age like 15 until 25. And I went hard in the paint. But I also really loved being an athlete.
Yeah,
And something that you learn really quickly is like those two worlds don't
they
really
collide.
go,
They
yeah,
collide in the most aggressive way that you possibly can think of.
yeah. Like I'll never forget doing one of my first open workouts hungover.
Hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I don't think I can go out on Friday nights if I want to come into the gym and do a workout on Saturday. Oh, my nutrition. Why am I throwing up after these workouts? Oh, well, maybe because I had pizza before I came to the 11:15 class. Like, so you quickly start to learn how to properly fuel your body. And through that, I wouldn't say my whole life changed because, like, as a person, I think, like, to the core, I'm still similar in a lot of ways. But
Hmm.
I think my habits, I think my social groups improved, like the friends that I started hanging out with. Like, I can't tell you, before the age of 25, I feel like I had a lot of very surface level friendships where
Yes.
then, like, from 27 up until now, these are truly like best friends that I've had deep conversations with, like whether it's politics, religion, finances, like relationship dynamics. Like, I can talk to my friends about literally anything, where before CrossFit, and again, I think because of a lot of lifestyle choices, it was friends that you would talk about like TV shows or like gossip or drama. And not that you don't still talk about that sometimes, but I
Hmm.
think like the balance of conversations and deeper relationships with people has totally shifted since I started CrossFit.
And that's something that you don't really see in people until, I mean, I guess you can say my age, late 30s, early 40s. And it's pretty amazing, like, I guess the growth that has occurred. Because I mean, let's be real. I was a Marine for 20 years. My early years, I would
Oh,
say were
yeah.
very similar to yours. At the
Uh-huh.
age of 20, I was stationed in Spain for a year. So, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I
Not a
get
bad
off
place
of
to be,
work.
though.
No, no, not at all. It's like, you get off of work at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. By 7 o'clock, you're out at the bars and me and a friend, Brammer, we'd get off, go straight to the honky tonk bar, at 7 p.m. and we'd be hanging out at Honky Tonk or Cali Bar until 2 o'clock in the morning,
Oh,
roll
yeah.
back in, go to sleep, wake up at 5:30, and then, oh, we have a 6 a.m. boots and utes run, and we're running 6 miles and we're still, hungover slash drunk from the night before. And I mean, that was a nightly occurrence for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Um, and
And it's
and
crazy when you look back at those moments
you're
and
like,
think of
how
what
am
your
I
body
still
used to
alive?
do. Yeah, I know. I truly don't know sometimes.
Yeah, it's like I remember waking up on a golf course before, like, how did I not get in trouble for this before?
How have
Um,
I not been arrested or something?
Yes, yes. There were some close calls, but I'm faster. Not, I was faster. But
Good for
no,
you.
but yeah, you're absolutely right. Whenever you find something that you're just so deeply passionate about, you change your habits, you change your lifestyle, you change the eating habits, and like I'm the kind of person, once I find something that I'm passionate about, whether it's shooting, and
Mhm.
fitness, I go all in. And it's like
Yeah.
now I'm hard into the paint with that stuff. And you're right. It's like I I have core groups of people, like within the Marine Corps, that are family for life because we went through some serious life stuff at a very
Yeah.
early age. And we still talk to each other this day, and we still lean on each other, and we're still there for each other. Then I have, a core group of people outside of the Marine Corps, within the competition space, that they are they are just as much family, as like my brother is, if not
Mhm.
more, because like I can call upon them and be like, "Hey, I need your opinions, I need your thoughts. Like, what do you think of this?" And then I
Mhm.
have my real family, and but that fitness family, I guess you can say, it's like we're talking almost on a daily basis and like comparing notes, comparing workouts, and
Yep.
just trying to make each other better.
Yeah. And that's really what it's all about, is all of us being the best versions of ourselves. And CrossFit, the social groups I'm now with, like all of that really goes hand in hand for me.
Yeah. No, and I think it's a lot like that for the majority of that community,
Mhm.
which you don't see in any other community, quite honestly.
Yeah. I would say you do in tactical games, but again,
Yes.
like those, a lot of them are coming from the CrossFit
Hmm.
ecosystem, right? Or
Yeah.
they're coming from a military background, so they have like some of those similar like experiences or backgrounds or like community like groups. So I think that there's a lot of crossover with those as well.
Absolutely. So last year you started covering the tactical games. First, I want to ask, how did you hear about the events? Because I mean, and I know there's crossover between CrossFit and tactical games, but unless you're within that space, like you really don't hear much on the Second Amendment community, competition, shooting, anything like that. And then what caught your eye about it that made you want to cover those types of events?
So it was, I think I so I know Jacob Hepner well through the CrossFit ecosystem. I interviewed him several times when he was a games athlete and coming up and in the ecosystem. So of course I followed him on Instagram, and then I saw that he was posting like shooting and fitness, and I was like, oh, what is this? This is interesting. And then I looked, and I think I saw Margot Alvarez also was doing this shooting and fitness thing, and I was like, what is this? So I started looking into it, but like didn't think too much into it because at the time I was still very much like only in the CrossFit space, and I was putting all of my eggs in those baskets. And then back in 2023, was it 2023? Yeah, it was around the time that I think I started with Talking Elite Fitness. We were potentially going to branch off and have like more verticals that we were going to cover. So we were going to cover more of the strong man and strong woman community. We were going to cover more Olympic weightlifting. And then included in that was going to be tactical games because we saw that some athletes were joining that community from CrossFit. So I was the one that kind of spearheaded, like, they were like 5 minute recaps of, who was on the podium at this event. And then with a quick little snippet, interviewing, whether an athlete or somebody that was at the event. So through that, I was connected with the former owner of Tactical Games, Jared Halbert, back in, I think that was like March of 2023. It was,
Hmm.
I think, right before he sold it to Nick and Amanda Thayer.
Yep, that was
And
right before the team event in South Carolina in
mm,
2023. Yeah.
yep. So I interviewed him, we chatted, and then I just started following the sport more. I started looking at it. I followed their Instagram account. I watched more of Jacob Hepner's YouTube videos, what anybody does to like consume content. And then around CrossFit semifinals of 2023, it was it was this thing that I just couldn't stop thinking about. And I was like, you know what? Like, I can keep covering CrossFit, but why do I need to only cover CrossFit? I have an interest in other sports. And like, this seems like a really easy transition in the sense that I know a lot about the fitness side. I know very, very little to nothing about the shooting side, but I think I can learn. I
Hmm.
think I can learn. So at that point, I reached back out to Jared. He had then sold the company. So he had put me in contact with Amanda and Nick. And I basically just shot my shot and sent them an email and said, hey, I work in the CrossFit ecosystem, covering events. This is what I do. Here is my website. I see that like you guys don't have anybody who like commentates for the sport or does interviews or like this type of content. I would love to come out to nationals if you guys give me a chance. And Nick Thayer was like, "Hey, like I've seen your work. You do a great job, but understand that our sport is super niche. I just don't know that you have the knowledge to talk about the shooting side of it." And I go, totally fair. You're right. But if you give me the opportunity, then I promise you, I will show up prepared. I will ask questions and I will show you that I'm of value. And credit to him, he trusted me. And I asked a lot of probably what people would call stupid questions. And I consumed everything I could from like the athlete rule book to following all of the athletes, trying to see, okay, who else other than Jacob Hepner has a YouTube channel? Like, where can I consume content? But truly, like, the best way for me to learn was once I arrived at nationals and actually saw like the flow of things and how like the workouts integrated with the shooting. And gosh, it was like drinking from a fire hose, learning so much on the fly. But it was like I was so grateful for that opportunity because if it wasn't for them like trusting my abilities in a sport that like I really had no business being trusted to cover, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I know about half of your sport, but I don't really know about the other half. And
Yeah.
I can understand why people in the shooting community could um like take that a certain way. Like, oh, who's this girl who knows a lot about fitness, but like doesn't even know what a magazine is called? You know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
could understand that like the way it could have come off if they weren't open to like letting me in and welcoming me with open arms. So yeah, then after that they hired me for the full 2024 season and 2025 season. I'm able to go to most of the events, but some of them do cross over with, you know, the CrossFit Games season or other events that, you know, I've had on my schedule, but it's been so much fun. I learn something new every time. The athletes are so welcoming and everybody wants to help.
Yeah.
Like, even if I have a couple athletes that have come up to me and they're like, "Hey, listen to you talk about this on the YouTube channel. Like, I really liked what you did with this. Um, why don't you also include this information? Or you're saying it this way would actually be better." So everybody has been so good about also like helping me get better, which has been a really cool experience.
Yeah, and I watched your coverage of the SIG event. What was that, last month, I believe?
Yep.
And like your play-by-plays were like damn good. Like
Thank
it,
you.
it, it was really good. And like every little niche detail from like, hey, he's going into a loop sling because with this style of target at that distance, it's going to give him the most support and stability. And it was just like, hell yeah, like this is cool. Like good for you. And it's like and like those are like little niche things that some people just don't pick up on.
Mhm.
And though that's a way of covering it and giving people information that those who are looking to get into the sport, it's like now they're going to remember that bit of information. So if they go out to the range to train, it's like, okay, I saw somebody do it like this. This is why it helps. And now they have the why behind it. And it's stuff like that that's important and helps educate people in a much more beneficial manner.
Well, and that's what I want to do. The way that I look at commentating for tactical games is okay, who is my audience? Who are the
Hmm.
people watching it? They're people who are either already involved in the sport and
Hmm.
somewhat know what they're doing, or they're people who have never been exposed to the sport before and maybe they have an
Hmm.
interest of getting involved. So, how can I balance talking to somebody who doesn't know really anything to also keeping people interested who have competed in the sport before and just trying to find that balance of entertaining people while educating as well.
Yeah, and it's definitely entertaining. It's fun. Like some of the
I
reels you
have
put out
fun.
is just like seeing you with like Tina or James or
Oh,
any of the
yeah.
other people. It's like, oh Jesus, they're at it. And like in like Tina's one of my favorite people.
I
Like
love
I've
Tina.
I've known James since like I first saw James on TV on the Outdoor Network competing in Three Gun Nation in
Oh,
2013,
yeah.
14. And then like me and James first shot together in 2017. And then whenever I was on the Marine Corps shooting team, it's like I would reach out to James like, hey, when you were on the team, how did you do certain things? Like because like I'm trying to do this type of stuff and I just want your advice. So like James and I probably still talk once a month, twice a month, sometimes three times a month, and then every now and again I give Tina a call just to like bullshit with her and see how she's
Yeah,
doing and like they're just great people.
they are. And they both have so much knowledge.
Yes.
Like, so I competed in a team event in May, and I would say that like that also has really helped my commentary because now I actually know what it feels like to be a tactical games athlete. I know the
Hmm.
things that are going wrong. I know, like, okay, what round is like my grip fatigue setting in, like my heart rate, like all of these different things.
Yeah.
But I did the tune up the morning before with James,
Hmm.
and he, like, I would suggest to anyone, I don't care if you're a first time competitor or you've done this thing 100 times, like, always make the time to go to the tune up because the things that you learn from James, like, they're irreplaceable.
Yeah. No, he's just a wealth of information. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, yeah, anytime I talk to him, like, yeah, I try and always pick up on something. And sometimes there are times that he says stuff that just kind of go over your head, and it's like, hey,
Oh
James,
yeah.
talk, like, explain it down at the
First grade
plebeian level.
level.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I tell him. I was like, James, you're probably giving really good info right now, but I don't understand your language. We gotta
Hmm.
take it down. Remember,
Yes.
I'm in kindergarten still. I got my training
Yep.
wheels on.
Yep. But he's so humble about it too. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the most humble individuals. Like he is good. He's one of the best shooters in the country, but he he doesn't brag, which is
He
it's great.
he lets the proof in the pudding be the bragging, and I love it.
Yep.
Hmm.
So what made you want to compete in that event then?
I mean, I
I mean,
love competing in
yeah,
anything,
and and
like,
watching it so long, you're just so much like I got to do this now.
it's hard because in a perfect world, I would compete at every single one and also commentate. But even just like doing the content that I put on my own YouTube channel when I competed, you learn a lot, and I was like, oh man, like this is so stressful right now. I'm doing all of this YouTube content, but I'm also like trying to be an athlete, and I'm trying to like be in the moment, and oh my god, how do I do this? So I know realistically, like, there's no way that I could work and play. I really have to, like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
going to pick one event a year. I'm going to train for it. I'm going to compete, and maybe I'll do a skirmish to it if the stars align. But I really just wanted to understand what it felt like to be an athlete. I felt like it was something that would be really cool to train for now that I'm in that ecosystem because, I try to compete in a couple of local CrossFit events throughout the year as well. So why not compete in a tactical games event too? And you can train a certain way and feel like, okay, I'm prepared and I'm ready and I'm learning all of these things, which you are, but there is nothing that can replicate what happens when you are competing in a competition and the
Absolutely.
amount of like things that go wrong that have never gone wrong before in training, and
Yep.
you just learn a lot about yourself, and also, like, how do you handle things when they go wrong? Like, do you know that you're going to be safe when things go wrong? Because I
Hmm.
always tell people, like, you don't need to be a great shooter to do tactical games. Make sure that you're safe and you know the clearing procedures, and go in with an open mindset that if you suck, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, you're just going to like get data points that you can then take for the next time that you compete. And
Yeah.
that's where my mindset was. And I feel like it was really helpful and humbling. And I'll be curious to see if I do any better the next time I compete.
Yeah. No, I often tell people, hey, no matter what kind of competition it is, hey, if this is your first time, prepare to suck. But don't feel
Right.
bad about it because everybody's got to start somewhere. Go out there, have fun, and learn. Learn how the flow of things go. Learn, the safety constraints and just enjoy the time and enjoy the people in the community. And then like over time, your confidence is going to build, your skill level is going to build, and you're going to be a lot more competitive as time goes and things just become so subconscious because you've done the repetitions over and over and over again.
Mhm. Yeah. And the community, I mean, being able to interact with everybody there, and everybody's got their tents set up and their RVs or their campsites. And it's just it almost reminds me in a lot of ways. And I wasn't physically there, but just like from what I've seen on the internet and people I've spoken with, but like the very, very early days of the CrossFit games when it was
Hmm.
at the ranch. And yeah, people set up tents, and it was almost like a tailgate fitness party. And I get that vibe from tactical games. And it's really wholesome and like a big family barbecue of fitness and shooting, and I love it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like, I've been competing for what since 2013. And I, three gun, you're generally only with your squad most of the time. And then afterwards, like you're hanging out with other people because like,
Hmm.
they'll do a morning squad and an afternoon squad, and that's your time to go see people or look at the stages for the next day. Um, and then and but most of the time you're only really hanging around with the people that you shoot with. And then, at some events, like one of my favorite venues in the country was a place called Rock Castle Shooting Center. And it was a hotel that was on a range. And so, yes,
What state is this in?
this was in Kentucky. It's no longer around. And unfortunately,
Oh no.
last year, the place burnt to the ground. The hotel caught fire and it burned. And a lot of people were sad.
How did
Um,
it catch on fire?
I don't know. No
Mm.
idea.
Got
Insurance
it.
money?
Yeah.
But no, it was such a good venue because like it was that one place where everybody gathered once or twice a year, depending on what event you were going to. And it was all natural terrain three gun. So you're
Cool.
doing nothing but jungle runs pretty much the
Mhm.
entire time or long range. And at the end of the day, you all gather around in the parking lot or the bar or the restaurant because it had a bar, it had a restaurant, or it had this really big parking lot where literally everybody from the match just congregated and hung out. And so you have anywhere from 150 to 300 competitors just hanging out with each other after hours and just talking till 3 in the morning. And this goes on for 3 days, and
Wow.
it was one of the best match sites that there was in the country. And so, bringing that fast forwarding to now with like the tactical games, the thing that really, I love the fitness, I love the shooting, but more importantly, I love the community.
Me
And
too.
it's that community, like setting up the tents and just congregating around the groups between stages and be like, talking about, hey, this stage, this is how I did this, this is what worked
Yeah.
for me. And it's
Everybody
just,
shares their cards.
yeah, it's like there's no secrets. It's like, hey, I
Mhm.
I went out too hot for this, or this one burnt up my forearms, or hey, this is how I would attack this event, or hey,
Yeah.
don't forget to do this. And it's just like it's people who have a love for the sport, a love for the community, and a love for the people. It's great.
Yeah. It really is. And people are so welcoming. And I think that, like, for somebody who maybe has never seen tactical games before or like isn't involved in it, I'll never forget the article that the New York Times ran. And they
Hmm.
said that it was, tactical dress up and LARPing and ultra, like conservative people. And they made it very much like political.
Hmm.
And to me, I have never felt out of any of the ones that I've been to like it's that way. I feel like there's people from all walks of life and that it's one of the most inclusive communities that
Hmm.
I've at least ever been part of. And I would just, urge people that, like, if they're skeptical about joining or like they don't know like what the community is about, like there's nobody that wouldn't fit in. Like it's just people that want to have fun, be safe while shooting, get their fitness in, and then hang out with a bunch of adults that like to play.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what it's all about. Like, it's a game. Nobody,
Yeah,
not everybody takes it so seriously. Like, people want to do well, but it's like, I want to have fun at the same time. If you're not having fun, what's the point?
exactly. Life is too serious in a lot of other ways that it's nice to be able to just do something for fun.
Absolutely. Um, so, we kind of hit on like you um competing. So I got to ask, like, the training up for that, what was that like and what was your main focus?
I would say my main focus was trying to get as much range time as possible. Um, at least with pistol. So I live in the great state of New York. And when it comes to shooting a rifle, ours have to be constructed a bit different here that would not help you in tactical games. So I actually don't own my own rifle at this point. So I always borrow one of Nick or Amanda's when I go out to Texas. So unfortunately, I mean, truly, I had probably shot a rifle 5 times before I competed, and only at maybe 100 yards. And we were
Hmm.
shooting at targets like almost 400 yards. So it was very much like, okay, the rifle, I'm just going to take the L and I'm going to do my best and we're going to figure it out on the fly and it's going to be fine. But I just tried to get as much pistol range time as possible. Um, I didn't really change my CrossFit training too much. I would say that I did more sandbag holds and I did more posterior chain work because I knew that there's a lot of hinging in tactical games.
Hmm.
So if I didn't train up those muscles, I would probably be in trouble. But in hindsight, I wish that I would have trained the two together more because I really wasn't. I was just like, okay, I'm going to keep getting really, really fit. I'm going to train the movements that are in tactical games. And then I'm going to go to the range and I'm going to get a lot of like practice in. But I didn't really combine the two modalities. And
Hmm.
that very much showed when I arrived.
Well, like I love it because now like on your Instagram, you can see like even your YouTube, it's like I'm getting some training in today and it's dry fire, so you're mixing the two. And I do the same thing, like not all the time, but
Mhm.
like in events like, if I know like I'm gonna be in Ohio next week and it's like, okay, I'm gonna jump off the Echo bike, in my 30 seconds to 1 minute of rest. All right,
Yeah.
I'm practicing draws and magazine changes, and I'm
Yep.
target transitions and stuff like that. That way, I know what it's like, and I can focus on the elements of breathing and trigger control while under duress.
Yeah. And even just like in practice, I also didn't train a lot with my belt on. So I also was like putting my magazines in the
Like your
the
pocket or the elastic band.
right, but I was putting them in backwards. The
Ah.
bullets weren't facing forward. So then like when I would grab them to try to load, I then in the moment would look at them and I'm like, wait, this is backwards. And
Hmm.
it wasn't until like 2 or 3 events in it at the event that I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Like, someone's like, you put all of your magazines in backwards. What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I've never used my belt before. So,
I mean, you'll learn though. I mean, like
yeah.
it's your first event, and I mean, did you learn something? Absolutely.
Oh, I learned so much. That's why I get people that will reach out and be like, "Hey, like how advanced do you think I need to be before I do this?" And I'm
You
like,
don't.
"Go watch my YouTube video. Like you can literally be at the beginner level and just do it."
I mean, the biggest thing I would tell somebody is like, hey, find somebody that you trust that shoots firearms and
Yep.
have them teach you the basic fundamentals and safety. Like,
Mhm.
key on safety and then learn the fundamentals, and then
Yeah.
the rest will come.
Right. Because if you're safe, then that's the biggest thing and
Yep.
everything else you can learn as you go.
Yep. So, you kind of talked about it, like what when you recorded yourself and like as you were going to the event, like, and you did it in probably one of the most creative ways possible, like, getting on the flight,
Thanks.
getting there, check in, and you really created a path that people can understand of what it's like to actually be a competitor, and they're going to check in after, and then like, hey, from here, I got to go over here. And then from stage to stage, you know, how stressful was that? Like having to like balance the two. And, if you had to do it over, would you have changed anything?
Oh yeah, I would have hired a videographer and an editor too. I would have hired more help. But no, and those things you can't really know until you do it. It was stressful in the sense that I really wanted to do the weekend justice. I really wanted to take people through, like, hey, what does it look like if you're competing? And what is the flow of things? And what are like the little things that when I'm working and covering an event that we don't talk about because it's not so much about the process. It's more like, what's happening, what are the stages, who are the athletes. It's about the competition rather than some of the behind the scenes stuff. So I really wanted to make sure that I included as much as possible. But then I was like, oh God, my safety briefing is in 5 minutes and I've loaded none of my magazines and I'm the first squad to launch. And oh God, I still got to record this video. So I'm just going to bring all of this stuff to where I need to be and try to like multitask as I go. But I mean, overall, it was just it was fun, and there were a lot of like good personalities that helped carry it and were fun. I mean, Gil got me taken off YouTube for a hot minute because he was making fun of me, and they thought he said something that was like a no no. So I'm like, Gil, I'm kicked off YouTube for a week because of your mouth.
That's
But we got
skill.
back, so it's
That's
okay. Yeah,
that's skill though.
yeah, exactly. So it was fun.
So, what is your favorite memory being in the tactical game space so far?
Oh, that's so hard. One memory because it's interesting because like in a lot of ways the events blend together except for if they're at a like really memorable place. Like the YO Ranch is super memorable because it's
Mhm,
in a safari. It's surrounded by animals. Like
mhm.
aesthetically it's stunning. And most of the ranges that we go to are very pretty, whether they're like in the desert or surrounded by mountains or even like the one in Holt, Florida, you're not far from the beach. So I think like it's cool because you get to travel into a lot of different places around the country that you otherwise wouldn't have gone to. And I mean, I guess now we can say out of the country because we go to Poland in, 3 weeks. Um, so I think the way that they've blended sport with seeing the the world, I guess I'll even go as far as saying,
Yeah.
um, has been really cool. And then just going back to the people. I mean, the team, like the core team of tactical games, like full time employees, is only about 5 or 6 people. It really,
Hmm.
really is like a small team that's doing everything. And I'm just so impressed to see that they put on these events after events and they haul these trailers and all of the equipment all over the country and they make it work and they don't do it for the recognition and they don't do it for people to say thank you or anything like that. They do it because they genuinely
They're
love
passionate.
this sport and the community. And I think that with the world, a lot of that noise can get lost because of like negative talk or people like butting heads and stuff, and it's just really cool to see genuine people. And I feel like this community has truly like brought some of the best people together, whether they work there or the
Yep.
competitors or volunteers. So I'm just truly grateful to be part of such like a wonderful community. Like truly, I know I keep saying that, but
No,
I
you're
I
absolutely
love
right.
it.
Anytime I talk to somebody, about the competition space, I tell them like I have never met a better group of people in my life. I've met some of my absolute best friends. Like, Marines aside and people that I'm close to within the Marine Corps, like
Hmm.
putting that aside, like yes, I still talk to them. They're still extremely close, but like the amount of people I have met in this space, like it is literally become my life. Like I did it before I was on the Marine Corps shooting team. Then I was on the Marine Corps shooting team. And so then, like, I still talk to that core group of people, and they are still like my closest friends. I still work with the current Marine Corps shooting team, and I've become very close with them. And then, like, just the whole community outside of the Marine Corps shooting team. It's like you meet the best people who just they want to have fun. They want to see the best come out of everybody, and they just want to see everybody succeed and have a good time.
Yeah, and there's nothing better than that.
Hmm. But other than that, I wanted to give you an opportunity if you wanted to give a shout out to any of your sponsors.
Oh man, Fit Aid and Garmin, love them both dearly. Garmin, I mean, if you aren't on the Garmin train yet and you're looking to get into tactical games or any fitness, knowing where your heart rate zone's very important.
Yep.
So
Yep. And then
that has
knowing what
been
your body battery is afterwards or at
mm,
the end, like, okay, what am I going to have to do to recover?
Exactly. And then I turn to Fit Aid and then I have my recovery aid and it's like the two best like balance each other out and yeah, they've both been with me for a while and are super supportive in the CrossFit space and the tactical game space. So, yeah, they're
Oh,
great.
awesome. Before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to leave the listeners with?
Mm, you should try it. Whether it's a CrossFit competition, a tactical games competition, a high rocks competition, I don't care. Like I think as adults, we sometimes feel like we leave all of our competitive juices like in high school or college or whatever we've done.
Yep.
And I think that with the way the fitness ecosystem in general is now, it's very welcoming to like, hey, you don't need to be a certain age to compete. Like, just come here and do it, and we'll welcome you, and you'll learn something about yourself. So, whatever it is, I just think competition, you learn so much about yourself. And
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
so
And
do it.
I love that. No, I absolutely love that. Like a friend of mine, they lived down in Central Florida area and they competed in a CrossFit event in Tampa as a team. It's like, man, I need to find something like that up here in Virginia because
Yeah.
like I do all the shooting competition, but it's like I would like to just do a competition, a fitness competition once just to get the experience, or at least just go and be among that community and see what that community's like.
Exactly. I mean, there's just something special about it.
Yeah, no, it is. But other than that, Lauren, I appreciate you coming on. This has been a great conversation, and
And
to
I'll
the
see you in
list,
Ohio.
yes, yes, week and a
Woohoo!
half. Yeah,
I
no, that'll
know.
be, yeah, no, we definitely have to link up.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. And then I get to interview you. The
Oh,
tables will turn.
oh, yay.
I hope you're excited.
Oh no, I am. Just don't do it after I'm like half dead on the ground. Like just but
Those are the best times to do it.
zero I will warn you, zero filter.
Why do you think that's the best time to do it? You get raw emotion from people.
Yes, no, you're not wrong.
You never know what people are going to say, and it makes it fun.
Oh yeah. I'll try and keep it somewhat tame.
Oh, that's okay. You can let your hair down.
Okay, I will do. But no, thank you again. And to the listeners, I hope you enjoyed this. Come out to any of the events. You'll have a good time. You'll meet great people. You might even get an interview from Lauren.
Oh, yeah. And all the events are free. You don't even
Yeah.
need to pay to watch.
Yeah. No, just go out there, learn it, and then next time come out and play.
Mhm.
But, I hope you enjoyed this and looking forward to talking to y'all next time.